and welcome back to Otaku no Video. As always, thank you very much for joining me for my review of Ultra Maniac, at least the first 2 volumes of it. This is a manga that started in 2002, the shoujo manga, only 5 volumes. It's about a normal 8th grade girl, she wants to be very normal, who unfortunately makes friends with another girl in her class who turns out to be a magical girl from a magical kingdom who's on Earth sort of incognito. But she can cast spells, and she's a bit of an airhead. So it quickly falls into this pattern where there's some problem. The magical girl, and I'm not going to go into the names because you're not going to remember them anyway. The magical girl casts some spell, it backfires in some way, and hilarity ensues, and then it's all wrapped up in the end. So it really lives and dies based on how well you like the characters, and more on that in a bit. The dialogue overall is very realistic, but not particularly memorable. Each character has their own way of speaking, but it's very workhorse sort of dialogue that just explains what the characters are thinking or feeling or what have you, but isn't particularly, there are no lines that I really remember or anything like that. So that's unfortunate. The artwork is effective, but very shoujo. Rounded, pretty sparkly. But the characters often sort of float in these big white voids or are just surrounded by or special effects or by flowers, to be honest with you. And that's just the way shoujo is. So just be aware that you're going to get that. But the artwork is effective at expressing emotion and at just getting across how the characters are feeling relative to each other. So good job there. Overall, they exist in a setting that is quite realistic. And that's actually one of the problems, is that there's not much else going on in the story. So you have this very normal setting with characters who are not particularly strange, to be honest. And there's this little magical girl problem-solving storyline that just keeps repeating. And there's just nothing particularly special about anything, really, in this story. And so, here's the thing. There's basically no character development. There's basically no character or relationship change over the course of the first 2 volumes, other than the 2 girls growing a little closer. And because the plot is just these little magical girl problems getting resolved with no change to the world, there's really no plot. So I had a tough time with this because I really enjoyed the first volume in terms of all it set up. But when volume 2 comes out and it's just sort of repeating that over and over and there's really no change in the characters, it just becomes kind of repetitive. It is repetitive and kind of dull. There's really no change. There's another couple of characters, but that was frustrating to me. I want there to be some change in things. And with only 5 volumes, it's a shame that things don't move faster. I kind of expect that in my stories, to have things just keep on moving. So that is a shame. And to be clear, I'm not complaining that this is an average story. I think it is, but that's not the problem. The problem is that just, there needs to be character development or plot development or something going on. Instead, it's just repetitive magical girl problems getting resolved every, 20 or 30 pages. Sorry. So, that's really my main issue. And there are some moments where the magical girl things are cleaned up a little too quickly or a little too neatly for believability. I made up something and then everyone forgot about it. Ha ha ha. You can get away with that occasionally, but when it's happening over and over, it just tends to ring false after a while. So, unfortunate. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Ultra Maniac. Certainly didn't hate it, but just got repetitive after a while. Maybe that'll change in later volumes. So, if you read Ultra Maniac and want to talk about it, or haven't, and just want to talk about anime and manga, stop by otakunovideo.net. All 5 volumes have been released in America, and in general, as well as are available in English. And there's actually an OVA and I think a 26-episode anime TV series released in Japan as well, and made available over in North America. So you can get those around. So those are my thoughts, and until we meet again, may you find sparkly, fun manga to enjoy.